spend about a week rehearsing different parts of the show, going through the entire show, and just sort of putting it all together. It's where all of the departments come together after working individually and getting their designs sort of solidified and bring it all together to create the one production. One of my primary responsibilities is to make sure that everything in the theater is being done safely and that we're observing all sorts of fire codes, OSHA codes, and that people have all of the resources and staffing needed to be able to accomplish the marvelous things that we do safely and efficiently. We also bring in a lot of young, early career professionals into the field and sort of provide them hands-on training or experience so that they can develop themselves further as they're growing in their career paths. The size of the cast is determined by the script. The size of the band is determined by the book. The size of the crew is sort of determined by the scope of the design. And it just depends on what the needs of the show are as we come closer. In scenery, we'll have about 5 to 6 carpenters working, including our technical director, assistant technical director, master carpenter, and then a handful of other carpenters working on loading in a show, building it at the scene shop, bringing it to the theater, installing it, making it safe, and then taking it down at the end. In lighting, we have about a crew of about 6 or 7 people as well. And those are electricians that are wiring things, soldering things, getting up on ladders, using genie lifts, putting lights in different places, programming lights, programming the rhythm and design of the show. In sound, it's usually a slightly smaller crew. Usually that includes our sound mixer, our A1, and our A2. The A1 is the person that you might find sitting at the back of the house in the balcony, listening to the show and live mixing the show while you're watching it. They are hitting the faders and bringing up different characters as those people are performing. In management, there's usually 2 to 3 of us, just sort of having eyes and ears on everything at the same time, and kind of being available around the clock once we get into the thick of it. Stage management is in charge of the show. Once the show opens, well, even before the show opens, stage management is integral in the rehearsal room. They are the right hand to the director, and they make sure that the actors are in their places and doing what is intended and just making sure that the train is moving. That's usually a team of about 3 to 4 people. We have the production stage manager who's basically in charge of all of that and takes over the show once we open. And then you've got 2 assistant stage managers, one on each side of the stage, making sure the actors are ready for their entrances, possibly handing off props, possibly moving some furniture, and they're kind of the backstage hands for the production stage manager, who's usually up in the booth. And then we have a 3rd stage manager who's a little more elevated than the other 2, and that person sort of floats backstage and goes side to side and just makes sure that everything is moving backstage. They're the primary contact for our production stage manager. It's also one of the things that people don't really think about because the magic just sort of happens for you and you don't worry about how it came to be. And the reality is it's hundreds of man hours, people really being dedicated and caring a lot about the art and the presentation and the quality of what we are producing at Porchlight.